If you've seen my video or if you have my download on the 5 things to do if you get a bar complaint, you'll notice that one of them is to tell your spouse or significant other. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. Yes, you absolutely need to tell your family that you have a bar complaint that you're dealing with. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, the stress of dealing with a bar complaint is significant. There is no way that you should go through that by yourself. And there's also no way that you can compartmentalize that stress so much that it doesn't bleed into your family life. It's bound to. It's a huge, huge burden to be shouldering. So don't shoulder it alone. Another reason to make sure you tell your family is that, believe it or not, they can help you. It might not seem that way at first, but I'll tell you why. If your bar investigation goes past the investigation phase and into the portion where the state bar is indicating that they do in fact intend to bring charges against you, you start to try and settle the case. And at that point, mitigation evidence becomes really important. Mitigation evidence can consist of several different things, but one big piece that we see in almost every case is character witness evidence. It's evidence that you are a good person, that you are honest and upstanding, and that people trust you. That evidence is tough for us to gather on our own. It requires a couple of things. First, you've got to identify people in your life who are going to be willing to stand up for you. And then you have to ask them to do that. That is really hard to do for yourself. Calling in the favors, telling people what's going on and that you need them is hard. Your family members might actually be better equipped to handle that task. You also have to tell the people who are going to stand up for you exactly what has happened. They need to understand what you've been accused of, and they need to understand what you admit you've done. If you admit that you've actually committed the misconduct, that's really important. If you're denying that you committed the misconduct, they still have to be willing to say that even if it's true what the state bar says you did, they still think you're a good person. So there's a lot of things you have to disclose to your character witnesses. That's tough. It's really hard to explain for yourself. And again, your family members may be better equipped to do that for you. Also, mitigation evidence can include things like that you were going through a very stressful time when the misconduct took place. To revisit the stressful time is hard. It has to have been really quite extreme in order to qualify for mitigation credit. So that means going back in your history to a time that you probably don't really want to revisit. Again, your family might be better off handling that for you. So make sure if you're dealing with a bar complaint, you don't ignore the fact that you have support right there at home. Include your family and see how they can help.